Hello, denizens of the internet. I had the pleasure of reviewing Season 2, Episode 1 of Loki with heel versus babyface. Has he dropped the as? I'll ask him later. I told him his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Babyface, must be very proud of him. It was during our silly ramblings that I asked HVB why we can't get good scripts out of Hollywood, and he said something that intrigued me. Here is the summary. Any studio or production company that lives by intersectional rules will force specific conventions on writers that will result in nothing but intersectional boring twaddle. Interesting. Most shows have something called a Bible. This is a document of rules, character descriptions, settings, etc., created primarily for new writers on a show. So rules have always existed. What's new, as HVB opined, were not so much rules, but new think. Not too dissimilar to how totalitarian regimes throughout history controlled art, from painting to writing to cinema. And as then, there will always be creatives who have to toe the line just to survive, and others who completely buy into this ethos. The problem is that it reduces options for writers. Writers are desperate to lard on every available characteristic, deficiency, trait, history on all their characters and situations that they can, so that they can make the most interesting story possible. I want my box of crayons, to be filled with every color available. This is not an LGBT plus analogy, sorry. Writing is hard, without having dogmatic restrictions placed on you. But that is what intersectional rules do. You proudly come into the job with your full pack of creative colors, but then the studio tells you to pull out the loving nuclear family crayon. That's not allowed. Men making decisions without the approval of a strong female character? Out. Women having to be dour and as masculine as possible? We'll keep that crayon. But the feminine crayon, well, it's got to go. Keep only men can be the butt of jokes crayon. Deep, passionate love and longing between a heterosexual couple? Gone. Men can save women? Oh, gone. 90-pound woman can beat up a larger man? Well, that I gotta keep. Men having any kind of agency? Out, of course. Men can make advances on women? Out. On and on until you have only 3 crayons left to work with. Okay, the analogy is awful because you can create a genius drawing with just one color. I should have used arrows instead. The studio has hired you to slay the dragon, and by the time you leave the studio castle, you are left with only 1 arrow to slay it with. There. Happy? I never said I was a good writer. And if you apply that lens, academics love using lens all the time, then what you have is a lot of boring shows because good writers are constrained by intersectional storytelling. Disney is the main culprit here. Netflix, I'm cautiously saying was because they were one of the worst offenders in this regard, but I sense a change there. The socially conscious writers of the past in Hollywood, and let me tell you, there were plenty, were able to insert their politics into their movies while not throwing out powerful emotional tools such as love and romance and longing. Is it because a large percentage of Gen Zs don't have relationships or even sex? And if you've seen any of those Gen Z campus protesters of late, you can tell why. Good storytelling really does include Darwinian laws of attraction, even if it's unrequited. Intersectionalism is anti-evolution. I'm not saying you can't tell a great story without 2 people wanting desperately to constantly jump each other. Just look at Driving Miss Daisy. Of course, I Could have been wrong about that. Or Sideways. But that was about the personal journeys of two straight men. Sorry, can't have that. Of course you still can. I'm just being silly, but look where we are. I'm sure many of you nodded in agreement with that snide remark because we've been inundated with so much of this crap, we're all thinking about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to joke about it. Take Brokeback Mountain, for instance. That was a gay film. It came out in 2005, back when we weren't always thinking about it. It made $178 million on a budget of $14 million. It was R-rated. There was a bit of a buzz about the subject matter, but there were a lot of single women who wanted a good cry who went to see it. I put it to you that this drive for intersectionalism is actually hurting things. If Brokeback Mountain came out today, it would be a flop, I guarantee you, because Hollywood is spending too much time shoving race-enabled rainbow Skittles down all our throats. You're not making things better. You're doing the opposite. You've made things worse, especially for those you want to promote and protect. And so Disney gives us these exercises in dry humping like Ahsoka and the Little Mermaid. Disney is in financial trouble. I wonder why. Till next time, denizens, be seeing you. Oh, what crowns do I have left? Oh, yeah.